Los Angeles that have decimated and wiped out the movie business. It wiped it out so bad that they're talking about job losses of up to, they said 40,000, I say 60,000. And, what you're seeing right now is people leaving the area. They're saying LA it has seen more of an exodus than anywhere else in the country right now. This just came out a few days ago, and now places like Texas, places like Arizona, places like Nevada. They look real good to working people here, to people who are in the movie business, because you can take whatever money you made here and do something with it there. And that's what people are doing now. And the truth of the matter is, what we're seeing here is people saying they've had enough of the crime, they've had enough of the garbage, they've had enough of the politics that doesn't match their personal values. They've had enough of the rioting when a news story doesn't go their way. They've had enough of the crime gang, the gang members from South and East LA coming into LA and terrorizing the people in their homes. They've had enough of these stories. They've had enough of just, you go to LA, you want to go out to dinner, you're attacked, you're assaulted in some way by just the out of control drivers, the homeless people, the panhandlers, walking by encampments. And it's one excuse after the next from these incompetent city leaders like Karen Bass, like Nithya Raman, who's a councilwoman. And you call her office, if you're unlucky enough to be in her district, she's going to tell you one thing, that she doesn't care if the homeless encampments are on the sidewalk. She doesn't care if they're within 500 feet of a school. She's already voted against amendments like that, and she just doesn't care. She thinks that it's okay, it's their right to sleep on the sidewalk. And I just think people have had enough of leadership like this. And you take people in the movie business who really are hardworking working people, hardworking, working class people, middle class, some upper middle class, working people who go in. We're on location. You gotta walk around encampments when you go from base camp to the porta potty. Sometimes it's just disturbing that there is no accountability from these elected officials who say they're going to fix it while they bring in Project Room Key, is what Karen Bass does. And what does he do with Project Room Key? It's $650,000. The California Post just reported that one. $650,000 for a room at one of these hotels that Karen Bass contracted with one of these hotels in Venice Beach, the hotel near Venice Beach that the city bought to transform into a homeless housing remains empty after 8 years, drawn out delays, and a ballooning budget. This is what they're saying. Now, the rooms, they're saying the rooms charged that they are, when they do get this rolling, it's going to be like $625,000 each to house one of these people in these homes, in these rooms, in this hotel. This is why it's rampant with fraud. And if you see, there was another story that I thought was very interesting here. If you think it's just LA, you're wrong. It's San Francisco. San Francisco homeless nonprofit paid official son $10,000 to make 5 slides for presentation. This is according to prosecutors, California Post, April 1st, 2026. A homeless nonprofit paid the son of a San Francisco top human rights boss $10,000 to prepare live slides for a panel his mother moderated as she was signing city contracts worth millions to the organization. This, according to prosecutors. Cheryl Davis, who's in a lot of trouble, former head of the San Francisco Human Rights Commission, was arrested Monday on a slew of public corruption charges stemming from her time leading the scandal that scarred Dream Keeper Initiative. This was a $120 million plan to aid the city's Black communities. Now, we're going to talk about that. Why would there be a $120 million plan needed to aid the city's Black communities? The first thing that you would do to aid the city's Black communities is what? Get rid of the state income tax. End it. That would help every single Black family. But instead, you had to rob the taxpayers $120 million awarded to this Cheryl Davis, who was the former head of the San Francisco Human Rights Commission, and start this weird Dream Keeper initiative to so-called help the city's Black communities. Let me tell you who it helped. Cheryl Davis, because she signed city contracts worth more than $3.5 million to Homeless Children's Network, a San Francisco-based nonprofit that provides substance abuse counseling and other services to at-risk families. And prosecutors say the organization then made questionable payments to Davis. Oh, yes, they did. And her son, totaling more than $140,000. Mm-hmm. That included a handsome fee of $10,000 to create 5 presentation slides for a panel that Homeless Children's Network executive director appeared on, along with, quote, answers to questions she could be asked. Davis's son, identified in city records as Henry Davis, was paid $140,000 by the nonprofit over less than 3 years for research services. Davis's son has not been accused of wrongdoing, but the payments created the appearance of improper behavior and unfairness. He was allowed to, quote, insert a description of work he would perform into contracts and set his own pay schedule and price as part of the plum gig per the affidavit. Anyway, so this woman's in trouble. She was accused of Cheryl Davis was accused of a pervasive pattern of self-dealing while in charge of the Dreamkeeper initiative, resulting in 17 felony and 2 misdemeanor charges. She's in very big trouble. And an 18-month investigation by the San Francisco District Attorney's Office. Davis's live-in partner, James, was also arrested, cuffed and stuffed into the police car on suspicion of 4 felony counts of aiding Davis's actions. Now, Davis, this Cheryl Davis, formerly of the San Francisco Human Rights Commission, used Collective Impacts, Magnolia's nonprofit, as a slush fund to help fund celebrity-studded events, restaurant buyouts, VIP tickets, and other high-dollar expenses. Her department split costs with Collective to pay $10,000 to this speaker. Another person got $27,000. A rapper got $25,000. The former human rights chief didn't disclose her relationship with Spignolia while directing city funds to his charity, according to the ethic watchdogs. Anyway, she's in trouble here. And now the son was getting payments too. So this was set up on the heels of this George Floyd nightmare, this George Floyd fraud who caused so many problems and, ended up overdosing, according to the report, the coroner's report. It said that he overdosed. So, to say that Chauvin murdered him, that's really not true. I have a very good feeling that Chauvin's going to be, his conviction will be reversed. Something's going to happen. And once it gets reversed, Trump will have, or someone will, I don't want to say what's going to happen, but I think, because they're going to try to keep, put him right into state custody if that happens. They could move him into the witness protection program. They could do something like that and just keep him technically on lockdown, but in the witness protection program. That's my prediction, what will happen with Chauvin eventually. I don't think you're going to see that guy live out his years in jail. I really don't. This has already been so traumatic for him. And George Floyd. I don't want to see him dead. I didn't want to see him dead, but let's call it what it is. He was a drug addict. He overdosed. That's what happened. And I remember driving in L.A. that day after after the video went out. I was on Hollywood Boulevard after a shoot, and just a bunch of thugs just took over Hollywood Boulevard. There were no police. There were no traffic cops. There were just a bunch of thugs that took over Hollywood Boulevard, and they turned us all around. They said, "You got to turn around." What was I going to do? Get up and stand up to these thugs? So I got out of there. That's the right thing to do. I advise everyone to do it and not get out of the car.